back to Robot Wars and a heat with only one machine from BattleBots. Everyone else, meanwhile, is from the original Robot Wars show. Interesting. Well, let's take a look at the Battleboard and see the lineup. We're going to be a rather interesting heat with old faces and new ones as Dominator II returns to scene number 30, taking on the two newcomers Cat 3 and 4 in all axe affair. Battle 3 is looking up to be. King B Powerworks also returns with a brand new machine in the form of King Buxton 20, taking on two other newcomers, Sint Aggro and BattleBots veteran Stinger. An interesting fight that should be, I think. But first up, semi-finalists Bigger Brother scene number 14 have returned to take on veteran Spawn again. And our fellow newcomers Constrictor. Now let carnage commence! Bigger Brother Flipper. They had a very good run in the last wars before crashing out against Razor and then to Earthquake in the loser's melee. The CO2 Flipper is very effective and the drive is quite effective too. The armor is also very tough and can withstand the spinning attacks very well, but the Flipper only has a limited gas supply, meaning they'll have to watch their flips and make them all count. Spawn again! Flipper! Back again after getting torn apart by Minotaur in the last wars, they've managed to fully repair themselves for the series with the low wedge and powerful CO2 Flipper. The drive is also just as fast as it was in the last wars, but now we know that the armor isn't really that tough, so they'll have to reinforce it or at least make sure that no spinner can get a chance to do the damage. Constrictor! Flipper! An interesting design Flipper which they say can self-right. The two wheels are at the back of the machine and it's not very often we see a machine at the competition armored in polyethylene. But the machine has a ground clearance issue at the back and that may prove to be a problem. I know there's a control problem, but I genuinely don't get how.
Robot ears, stand by.
Bigger Brother with the CO2 powered Flipper, seed number 14 for this competition. Spawn again, great to see them back again with their CO2 powered Flipper. And Constrictor with their own unique styled Flipper, a Flipper Frenzy.
3, 2, 1.
This opening fight, anyways. And that's some speed on Constrictor as Spawn again's already flipped over by Bigger Brother. Bigger Brother now coming in to deal with Constrictor, gets attacked by Spawn again. Constrictor stuck against the wall now. Bigger Brother flipped up and over and are pinned by the Flipper of Spawn again, but flips Spawn again onto the side. And now Bigger Brother stuck on the wall. Constrictor's flipped over and Constrictor out the arena. Out they go. So they're into the Bronze Rumble. Didn't really do much, did they? Down goes the... Oh, Bigger Brother's gone! Into the Silver Rumble goes Bigger Brother and Spawn again. Flips themselves up and over self-rights, but they're going through to the Gold Rumble. And truth be told, after their performance in this battle, very deservedly too, throws out Constrictor and helps Bigger Brother flip themselves out the arena. Well done, Spawn again. And an amazing performance by Spawn again as well, it has to be said. Next up, King Buxton 20, Sint Aggro, and Stinger. King Buxton 20, Lifter. Back after skipping the last wars with a new build and new spikes, they've taken away their rear little blade and the lifting spikes are stronger this time around. They can still run both ways up with a ground clearance, but the exposed wheels aren't the biggest weakness. It's the polycarbonate armor that shows where all the electronics are. I think that was the same problem they had in the first wars too. Sint Aggro Flipper. An extremely interesting Flipper that I don't think has ever been seen before in Robot. Oh wait, Maelstrom. Okay, never mind. The CO2 Flipper actually has the power to cause the machine to throw itself over along with its opponent and a very low wedge. But the big wheels are exposed and they also offer a very big ground clearance which can be taken advantage of. Stinger! Lifter! quite a fair few number of BattleBot's competitors in this series of Robot Wars. A front-lifting wedge with a great drive and are also armed with a flamethrower, because of course it is. A 6-wheel drive machine, a rarity, that could potentially do good if it's able to bring its past combat experience with them. But they'll have to be careful of their exposed wheels, or they might just be going home early.
Roboteers, stand by.
King Buxton 20 with the lifting spikes. Great to see the King Buxton team back again, by the way. St. Aggro with the unique flipper, similar to that of Maelstrom from the live circuits. And Stinger, not to be confused with the Thwackbot Stinger from the Last Wars, with the lifting wedge and the 6-wheel drive. Completely different machine with a very similar name, interestingly enough. And St. Aggro gets off the start by doing a wheelie and is flipped. St. Aggro, you can't tell if it's flipped because the machine can drive both ways up. So that's an interesting design. King Buxton 20 drives underneath Stinger. Well, it's an interesting weapon on Stinger, it has to be said. King Buxton 20 rearing up for another attack. And that front wedge is like a... I was about to say it's like a yapping jaw. Look at this. They just ramped up King Buxton out of the arena. That is fantastic. That is glorious. I've never seen that before. That was brilliant. And they're stuck on the weapon too. Now King Buxton 20 to try and take out St. Aggro, which is going to be very tricky because St. Aggro, well, it's a weird design. Oh, look at that! They've got them out the arena! Well done! Look at this, from a charge from King Buxton 20 up onto the wall and pushes St. Aggro out the arena. That is absolutely fantastic. Well done, King Buxton 20. A very, very good victory on their hands as they go through to the Gold Rumble. That's something they had happen to them before in Series 1, and now they've done it, and they're through to the Gold Rumble. Well done. Next up, Dominator 2, Cat 3, and Thor. Dominator 2. Axebot. They crashed out in the Silver Rumble with Die against 259, but made the Newblood Championships Grand Finals where they ended up crashing out in the Losers Melee. The spiked axe is an effective weapon and can help them right themselves back onto their wheels. The plasma nitride coated armor is still pretty impressive, and it's also very, very tough, but the effectiveness of the weapon is questionable. Cat 3. Axebot. Similar in design to Dominator 2 with a front wedge and a spiked axe, 2-wheel drive and a similar self-riding style to Dominator 2, but they also have the same issue with the weapon, which is that the opponent needs to be directly in front of it, and the armor isn't really all that strong. Thor! Axebot! The Norse god of thunder descends into our arena with its mighty hammer Mjolnir. The weapon will swing down and strike fast and hard, gouging through the armor of anyone unfortunate to feel its blow. But that doesn't work if a machine attacks from behind, where there is a bit of a ground clearance.
Roboteers, stand by.
The first preliminary fight was a flipper frenzy. This time, it's an axe mayhem with Dominator 2 with their spiked axe, Cat 3 with their own spiked axe, similar to Dominator 2, actually, come to think of it. And Thor with their lethal hammer Mjolnir, or is it Stormbreaker? One of the two, I don't know.
3, 2, 1, activate.
I mean, I thought Mjolnir was like a big sledgehammer. And, well, they've been hammered by Cat 3 into the wall. And Dominator 2 are stuck on Thor. And they can't get off. Cat 3 coming in. And Dominator 2 are now up and over. They can right themselves, no problem. But they are in trouble. And Cat 3 is stuck against the wall. Meanwhile, despite that axe of Thor being stuck down, oh, now it comes down onto Cat 3. And this is helping Dominator 2 get underneath, I think. Honestly, I have no idea. Now, Cat 3, is Cat 3 okay? Well, they've collided with an arena wall, so probably not. Dominator 2, once again, being pressurized by Thor. And you know what? Despite being seeded 30, Dominator 2 are in real trouble as they've thrown themselves up and over now. Meanwhile, Cat 3 are stuck against the angle grinder. They can fire their axe all they want, but I think they are immobilized. And Dominator 2, are they okay? Well, they're being pressurized by Thor, so probably not. And this is a real problem for Dominator 2 because they made the grand finals of the Newblood Championships of the Last Wars. But I think there's a problem with Dominator 2. I don't think they're mobile. They're not. You can see there, their axe may be firing. The wheels are not going. You can fire your axe all you want to get momentum. It doesn't make you mobile. The wheels aren't spinning. Lights are on, but nobody's home. Dominator 2 counted out and immobilized. Thor progressing through to the gold rumble with Dominator 2 going into the silver and Cat 3 breaking down first and falling into the bronze. Well done, Thor, despite no axe play. Hopefully we'll get to see some axe play in its next fight, but there is the confirmation. Thor into the gold, Cat 3 bronze, Dominator 2 silver. And here are how our 3 rumbles look, with Thor joining Spawn again and King Buxton 20 in the gold rumble. Bigger Brother, seed number 14, will be taking on Sint Aggro, and 30th seeds Dominator 2 in the silver. But first up, it's our bronze rumble with all newcomers, Constrictor, Stinger, and Cat 3. Have they fixed their driving time, I wonder?
Robot ears, stand by.
Here we go, the bronze rumble. Constrictor with their interesting flipper. I don't know why it's called Constrictor, to be perfectly honest, with a flipper. Alright. Stinger with the lifting wedge. And Cat 3 with their Dominator 2 style spiked axe.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
We'll come out on top of this one. Well, Constrictor already. Oh! Stinger up and over. Constrictor underneath Cat 3 didn't fire their weapon. Trying to, and now getting underneath Cat 3 and trying to lift Cat 3 up and over. Stinger stuck on their wedge and oh, what? What's happened there? Constrictor and Cat 3 up and over. Now Constrictor rights themselves, but look at this. What happened? Even on the replay, I have no clue. They both went up and over. And now Constrictor being pressurized against the arena wall by Stinger and Cat 3. Constrictor releasing the hit release button. Constrictor trying to get at Cat 3 to flip them over. And now Constrictor, Stinger up on their side. That is brilliant. And Cat 3 coming in on Stinger to try and get their act into play. It's not. And what's going on with Constrictor? There's no movement. I think they're immobilized. And there's problems with Cat 3. You can just see smoke coming out of them. Is Cat 3 okay, I wonder? I don't overly think so. Stinger colliding with the wall for some reason. I honestly don't know why. But you can just see that now that there is an issue with Cat 3. And Stinger knows it. And that's why they're spinning in the light. Because they know there's a problem with Cat 3 as they've flipped themselves over and righted themselves. And Cat 3 collided with the wall again. And I don't think we'll be coming back. The Beverly's button gets so much crap. It gets abused so much. Cat 3 counted out and immobilized. And it's Stinger going through to the death or glory. I don't know what happened to Constrictor. They just died on the spot. I think the electronics burnt out. Same with Cat 3. And it's Stinger going on through. to fight another day. Sad times for Constrictor and Cat 3. Commiserations to them. Hope to see them again in the next wars, but it's Stinger going on through to the death or glory. They're not out of it just yet. And next up, the Silver Rumble with 14th Siege Bigger Brother, 30th Siege Dominator II, and the rookies Sint Aggro.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Silver Rumble with Bigger Brother, the 14th Siege, and the CO2 Flipper. Syndagro with their own unique styled CO2 Flipper and the High Ground Clan to the back. And Dominator 2, C number 30 with the Plasma Nitride coated Titanium and their spiked axe.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Should be interesting. 2 flippers and an axe. One machine. Well, up and over goes Dominator 2, up and over goes Bigger Brother. Finally rights themselves. Maybe the flipper of Bigger Brother is a bit too powerful for their own good. Now being spiked by Dominator 2. And both go up and over. They both right themselves. Syndagro coming on the attack on Bigger Brother to no real success. Now on the attack on Bigger Brother, Syndagro, Bigger Brother coming in, Dominator 2. Well, it's almost like... It's like one of those weird dance parties. Oh, nearly at the arena there, Syndagro! Oh, I was about to say, it's like one of those weird dance parties where it's like you're dancing with a partner and then switcheroo, time to change partners. It's like one of those, I don't know what those things are called, but anyway, here comes Bigger Brother again. Syndagro stuck on the wall, Dominator 2. Well, this is definitely a very, 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 very hectic battle. I can't even keep up with it. There's a flip from Bigger Brother, and now up and over. Oh, hey! Out goes Dominator 2. I feel like that was inevitable. Look at this. The collision there from Syndagro keeps them balanced on the wall, and then another flip from Bigger Brother sends them out. And another flip and nearly had Syndagro at the arena, I think. And you know what? You can tell Bigger Brother is trying to flip Syndagro at the arena. You can tell that's what they want to do. The problem you've got, though, is Syndagro's design. It's so weird. It is so awkward. It is very, very difficult to get it out the arena. It's going to be a challenge. I think the only real reason King Buxton 20 got them out the arena was because they pushed them. And I think their own weaponry got them out. But Bigger Brother flipping them and are doing very well. Is Syndagro's speed going down, I wonder? Well, they're now on the floor flipper, and Bigger Brother definitely on top. They're definitely more in control. They've flipped themselves over, though. That's going to cause a problem, especially if Syndagro can capitalize on that. And now, soft rights, and they are very, very, very lucky. That could count against them if it goes to the judges. And it could go to the judges, honestly, because both the flippers, Bigger Brother has a very strong flipper, but Syndagro also has a strong flipper, and it's also a weird design, meaning flipping it out the arena is going to be very tricky. Bigger Brother self-rights finally, and gets another flip in on Syndagro, and again. And Syndagro overturns themselves. Probably the 1+ for Syndagro. They don't need to bother with self-right, and they can drive both ways up. Both mistimed the flip. Almost had them, but not quite this time, Syndagro. Bigger Brother pushing away, or is Syndagro pushing away at Bigger Brother? I am not really sure. When did the back panel come off? Did that fall off? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, to be perfectly honest. Syndagro still pushing away at Bigger Brother, or is Bigger Brother pushing away at Syndagro? I don't know. Nearly at the arena there. Bigger Brother very much trying, but I'm not 100% certain they'll be able to pull it off, especially with them losing CO2 the more they use their weapon. And the same thing goes for Syndagro. The more, because both these machines, don't forget, they run off CO2, their weapons, and there is a limited gas supply. They do not have a limitless amount of flips in them. They only have a certain amount, and now Syndaggro driving towards the wall and Bigger Brother releasing the pits. This is very interesting, and within the last minute, the last 50 seconds, and this very much could go to the judges, honestly, unless something major happens. Bigger Brother, they're not fully given up on getting Syndaggro at the arena! And do so with Syndagro's help! This was the final assault, look at this! The flipper's up and Syndaggro rides up the side of Bigger Brother and over the wall, and that's Syndaggro gone with Bigger Brother spinning in the light as they go through to the death or glory for the third time in their Robot Wars career. Well done! Once again, Dominator 2 crashes out at this stage. They did in the last wars, funnily enough. Syndaggro, great design. Hope to see them back again for Series 4, but it's Bigger Brother going through to the death or glory with Stinger. And now for the Gold Rumble with Spawn again, King Buxton 20, and the Norse God of Lightning Thor.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Gold Rumble with Spawn again, the CO2 flipper, King Buxton 20, the lifting spikes, and Thor with that big cleaving axe, which could actually do some serious damage to the polycarbonate top of King Buxton 20, and even the armor of Spawn again, it has to be said.
2, 1. Activate.
So, this could be a problem. Spawn again, trying to get around Thor to flip them over and probably even out the arena to no real avail. And now Thor underneath Spawn again, the pit's going down. King Buxton 20 staying in the center of the arena. I don't know why, you're supposed to be getting into the fight, just not. Spawn again, stuck on Thor. Trying to get away, they can't. They're firing the flipper to hopefully move to no real success. Oh! And down goes Thor! Well, that just shows the experience Spawn again has. They use the flipper just before the pit and give themselves enough height to have Thor fall down and go out of the competition. Now, Spawn again, flipping King Buxton 20 up and over. And that will cause a problem, because now they cannot really use their weapon effectively and have now driven onto their weapon. And that's going to be a problem. That's going to be an even bigger problem, because the machine's two-wheel drive. So when they're stuck on their four wheels, it's going to cause major problems. And when they're stuck on their two front, it's really going to cause problems. Being on the back isn't any better. Probably a bit more speed than the two smaller wheels. A flip there from Spawn again. Nearly had them out the arena. Once again, stuck on their spikes. And that's a problem for King Buxton 20. And you know what? This has been Spawn again's best series so far. They've been very aggressive, and they've been doing very well. King Buxton 20, meanwhile, apart from that opening fight, not as good. Oh, nearly down the pit. And that was so close. Nearly down the pit. And again, how did they survive? Look at this. The flip from Spawn again didn't really do anything, but they ramp up Spawn again. It's a unique wedge design. How on earth did King Buxton 20 not fall down the pit? That's quite a surprise. And now, Spawn again, once again, on the attack on King Buxton 20. They have been dominant in this battle for long forgotten. Is there anything, well, I'd say, is there anything King Buxton 20 could do? Not when they're stuck on their spikes. And when the spikes are up, they're now on the wheels the right way up. Their weapon is still up, however, and they're still being flipped by Spawn again. There's still enough CO2 to do it. Flipped over again. And now, once again, King Buxton 20 in trouble on their small wheels. And Spawn again, pushing away at King Buxton 20. And another flip. And have the machine... Is there something... Look at this. They're both slowing. Have they both run out of battery power, I wonder? Is that what's happened? I think it is. I think they are both immobilized. Cease is cool. Yes. They've both been deemed immobilized together. And I'm hearing we're going to go to a judge's decision on how to judge this. This was the end of Thor, so we can immediately rule them out. Great work there by Spawn again, by the way. They used their flipper well to get out of that. Surge between Spawn again and King Buxton 20. And this is where King Buxton 20 got stuck on their spikes. The spikes went up, and it gave them a huge ground clearance. Spawn again used that to their advantage. And throughout the whole fight, it was pretty much Spawn again. Nearly had King Buxton 20 out the arena. Couldn't quite pull it off, but kept pressurizing and flipping. Kept dominating. And King Buxton 20 had no real answer. This, however, great control by King Buxton 20 to get away from the pit. Almost skirting with death. A flip there from Spawn again to throw them out, but again, King Buxton 20 gets out of it. This was a really good battle, it has to be said. King Buxton 20, despite not really being able to do much or anything, they stayed in the fight, they kept coming back-ish. It was more like Spawn again kept coming back. A couple pushes, a couple attacks, but Spawn again, once again, counted. But this, it was around this point, while Spawn again had King Buxton 20 up on the spikes, this push here, this is where their batteries, both Spawn again and King Buxton 20 went. A good flip there, one final onslaught, but that was all they could do. Both their batteries went flat, became immobilized. But throughout this, you know what? I think Spawn again has this. And the judges appear to agree with me. Spawn again goes through to the heat final. King Buxton 20 crashes out with Thor into the death or glory. They're not out of this just yet, but well done to Spawn again for reaching the heat final once again like they did back in Series 1. But this is our death or glory with Stinger, 14 Siege, Bigger Brother, as well as our fallen gold number competitors Thor and Spawn again.
Roboteers, stand by.
The death or glory with Stinger and the lifting wedge, Bigger Brother, scene number 14 with the CO2 flipper, Thor with the lethal cleaving axe. Haven't really seen much of that axe, though, to be honest, except for pushing machines. And King Buxton 20 with the lifting spikes. Have they fixed the battery issue? Have they fully charged them for this fight?
2, 1, activate.
The only real reason they hear that and losing out on the judge's decision. Stinger flipped up and over by Bigger Brother, and they're being pressurized by Thor. King Buxton 20, however, spinning around, and Stinger nearly went out the arena there. Very, very close. Thor and Bigger Brother stuck together against the wall. Stinger hoping to maybe collide with King Buxton 20, or maybe just help dispose of both Thor and Bigger Brother. Probably, the latter, really, because a great charge onto King Buxton 20 sends them almost up and over. This is Bigger Brother pushing Thor into the pit. Oh! And they throw themselves in there! So, Bigger Brother, they're now gone. They're out. The 14th Sage are gone. And truth be told, I had a lot of expectation. We expected them to do better this time around than, well, 14th Siege crash out. How about that? So now it's Stinger and King Buxton 20. And Stinger, very quick and very speedy. I don't know why you're firing your wedge. You're not near King Buxton 20. You're not ready enough. That weapon is weird. I like it. And now, almost throwing King Buxton 20 up and over. How will this... Well, now, King Buxton 20 underneath Stinger. Could have lifted them, but they didn't. Stinger, once again, trying to slam into the side of King Buxton 20 to no real success. How... Well... I'm wondering if this could be a bit of a stalemate. Well, there's Stinger now. A great charge on King Buxton 20. And trying to throw them into the pit. And I think King Buxton 20 are actually stuck on one of those spikes on Stinger. They are! The weapon system for King Buxton 20 is stuck on the top spike of the scoop. How is this going to work, I wonder? Well, Stinger falling into the pit with King Buxton 20. I think... Right. How is this going to get labeled, I wonder? I mean, they're both in the pit. There's not much Stinger can do. There's nothing King Buxton 20 can do. Cease is called. I don't know how this is gonna go through. Do we need to get the judges involved again? Well, hang on a minute. I'm being relayed a message by the judges here. Controversy here. They've gone for Stinger based on everything that happened during the fight prior to the pitting. That's going to be controversial, but that's the result. They've gone for Stinger, and it's Stinger who goes through to the Heat final to face off against Spawn again for that extra spot in their series semifinals.
Robot ears, stand by.
The Heat final, black and yellow affair here with the CO2 flipper of veterans Spawn again, and the lifting wedge of the 6-wheel drive newcomers Stinger. I wonder how this will go. Well, Spawn again has that wedge design, and we saw what happened with Stinger before with wedges, so expect Spawn again to be able to get underneath, and Stinger wrapping off them as they go up and over and self-right. Look at this. There, the flip. I believe the flip from Spawn again. And then the self-rating mechanism of Stinger. It's a good stream mech on Stinger, it has to be said. It's a strange weapon, but the stream mech does work. The drive is also quite effective as well. As Spawn again gets another good flip on Stinger. And Spawn again. Can they flip Stinger out the arena? I don't think so. Spawn again. Underneath. Not really able to do much getting around to the wall because they remember what happened before! Out they go! It's very unique to ramp yourself out the arena. Spawn again use their design to their advantage. And had Stinger ramp off them out the arena, similar to what Stinger did against King Buxton 20 in the preliminaries. Spawn again through to their first ever semi-final. What a victory for Spawn again, and one that technically wasn't 100% their claim. But a win's a win, and they go through to the series semi-finals. And here's hoping that they go far. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.